Let's do revision of the chapter 1 of the 10th class, and the chapter name of the chapter 1 is chemical reactions and equations. Now there are the few topics that we have to do revise today in a quick manner within 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And in this chapter we will study about the chemical reactions. What is the chemical reaction? First of all, chemical reaction is the reaction in which two or more reactants combine together to form new products is called chemical reaction. For example, this is the chemical reactions, the left hand side components and the right hand side components. If two or more, these two components are called reactants and this one is called product. So reactants combine together to form new product is called combination reaction. Now on the basis of these chemical reactions, we will study about the different types of chemical reactions. The first reaction is called combination reaction. As discussed in this definition, a reaction in which two or more reactants, means carbon and oxygen, when they combine together to form a single product, that is carbon dioxide, is called chemical combination reaction. So we can just identify by seeing which reaction is taking place here. Similarly, there are another example, methane. When methane is born in the presence of air, it produces carbon dioxide plus water plus lots of heat and light. Heat and light energy is produced. So methane and oxygen are called reactants and carbon dioxide, water and heat and light are called products. So two or more reactants combine together to form two or more products. It is not necessary only single product is formed, but two or more products can be formed in the reaction. So this reaction is called combination reaction. Second reaction is decomposition reaction, and in the decomposition reaction, as the name suggests, decompose means splitting of reaction, in which any compound when split into two or more simpler compounds is called decomposition reaction. For example, there are the three types of decomposition reaction. One is thermal decomposition. It means when the decomposition is occurred or carried out in the presence of heat, that is called thermal decomposition. Electrolytic decomposition, when the decomposition is carried out by passing electric current. This is the most popular example. And the third is photolytic decomposition, when the decomposition is carried out in the presence of sunlight. Photo means light, and decomposition means the compound is split into two or more compounds or the simpler substances, that is called photolytic decomposition. Now one by one we will study about the examples of. First we will see the example of thermal decomposition. Here is calcium carbonate. When it is heated in the presence of heat, so it is splits into two simpler compounds. One is calcium oxide, that is called quicklime, and carbon dioxides. Similarly, ferrous sulfate, one more example is given here. Ferrous sulfate is heated, which is green in color, then it is converted into ferric oxide plus sulfur dioxide plus sulfur trioxide, and this is these two gases produce the very pungent smell. So pungent smell of the gases shows that sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide gases are present in the reaction. So these two most popular example of the thermal decomposition. And what is the electrolytic decomposition? Most important example is the water. When the current is passed through the water, then water is divided into two gases. One is hydrogen gas, other is oxygen. Photolytic decomposition, silver chloride is the one compound which is simply splits into silver and chlorine, which is used in the photography, black and white photography. It is used, this reaction. White colored silver chloride turns into gray on exposure of sunlight. Silver chloride is white in color, and when it is converted into silver, it is gray in color, and this reaction is used in black and white photography. Now the next reaction is displacement reaction. As the name suggests, the chemical reaction in which the more reactive element displaces less reactive element from its salt. For example, this one element, iron, which is more reactive than copper, and copper is present in its salt solution, copper sulfate, then it displaces copper from here and make the compound ferrous sulfate, and copper is separated from the copper sulfate solution because iron is more reactive than copper. So what is the color of copper sulfate? This is blue in color. So blue color copper sulfate changes to the pale green color ferrous sulfate solution, and brown color deposition takes place on the iron rod or iron nail, and brown color is, that is the copper. Copper is observed on the iron nail when this reaction takes place. Next reaction is double displacement reaction, and in the double displacement reaction, a reaction in which new compounds are formed by mutual exchange of ions. Very important term. Here exchange of ions will take place between the reactants, and this reaction is called double displacement reaction. It means sodium sulfate and barium chloride. There are the two ions in each compound, positive and negative ions. For example, sodium sulfate contains sodium positive ions and sulfate 2 negative ions. Barium sulfate and chloride ions. Then mutual exchange means positive shifted towards the negative and this negative shifted towards the positive. So they make the barium sulfate and sodium chloride, and barium sulfate has precipitates. So this reaction is called precipitation reaction. Now the next reaction is oxidation and reduction. So it is called redox reaction. Oxidation means adding of oxygen to the reactants or removal of hydrogen from the reactant. Both are important for the presence of oxidation reaction. For example, C plus O2, carbon plus oxygen, it makes carbon dioxide. Here oxygen is added into carbon, so it produces carbon dioxide. So addition of oxygen is called oxidation, and reduction, addition of hydrogen to the reactant or removal of the oxygen from the reactant is called reduction reaction. Let's see, copper oxide plus hydrogen, then here oxygen is removed and hydrogen is added. So copper oxide is converted into copper, so oxygen is removing, so reduction is taking place. In this case hydrogen is taking place, hydrogen is converted into water by adding oxygen, so it is oxidation reaction, and these two reactions occurring simultaneously, so this reaction is called redox reaction. The oxidizing substance is H2 because oxygen is added into hydrogen, and the reducing substance is copper oxide where oxygen is removing from it and converted into copper. So copper oxide is oxidizing agent and hydrogen H2 is reducing agent. Which compound is reduced, so it is oxidizing, and which compound is oxidized, that is called reducing agent. And when these two oxidation and reductions are taking place together, it is called redox reaction. Now on the basis of these paragraphs or the summarization of the chapter, we will do some questions. First question is, give reason why iron displaces copper from the copper sulfate solution. Because iron is more reactive than copper. Second, we store silver chloride in the dark color bottle in the labs because silver chloride reacts in the presence of sunlight, and the photolytic decomposition reaction occurs there in the presence of sunlight, and silver chloride converted into silver plus chlorine gas in the presence of sunlight. So they are kept in the colored bottle so that this reaction will not occur. Second question is, a small amount of ferrous sulfate is heated in the hard glass tube. So you have to write the reaction. I have written previously. So write the balanced reaction and name the reaction is taking place, that is the decomposition reaction. Question number 3, identify the reducing and oxidizing agent. Substance get oxidized and substance get reduced in this. So copper oxide plus H2 converted into copper plus H2O. It was previously done in the paragraph. Copper oxide is reducing is the substance which get reduced, and hydrogen is the substance which get oxidized. Which get reduced is called oxidizing agent, which gets oxidized, that is called reducing agent. So we can identify कि reducing agent, the substance get oxidized is H2, so it is called reducing agent. Substance get reduced, so it is called oxidizing substance. This is oxidizing substance and this is reducing agent. And give an example of the double displacement reaction, that is sodium sulfate plus barium chloride converted into barium sulfate plus sodium chloride. It is written previously. I hope you understand the concept of chapter 1 in a very less time. Keep watching Super Vigyan. Thank you so much.